our nostalgia segment today.
Yes, we thought we would move into something more light-hearted than questions of the appropriateness of Dan Savage as a human being. And we want to talk about our major video game, fantasy, science fiction crushes.
To give you some insight into the mind of a god.
Into who we look at when we're sitting on the clouds. Dream about. So who's your first one, Corey? Come on.
You're starting with me?
Yes, I want to know.
Alright, so just given that we're the gay gods of gaming, the first one I'll divulge is from a video game.
Okay.
From the Jack and Daxter series, 1, 2, and 3, would be Jack, the titular main character. Because he's a buff elf with huge ears, and you know what that means.
What does that mean exactly, Corey? Spell it out for us.
That means that his pants can't be too tight, otherwise there might be some chafing issues.
So, Jack, as far as I remember, is pretty short.
Yeah, I'm alright with that.
He comes from a world where elves are shorter than normal rather than taller than
I'm a pretty
average.
short guy myself, so whatever.
So you go together well?
Yeah, he's big enough to toss me around, so that's all that matters.
And you remember him being buff? I can't remember that aspect.
Oh, he's totally ripped. What are you talking about?
I can't remember. How do you know?
Did you play the second and third games?
I definitely played the first one.
Okay, the first one, and there's a huge tone shift from the first one to the second one. Like, in the second one, he winds up being some sort of military experiment and gets infused with dark eco and becomes, like, emo goth thing, and it's fantastically...
do you like the emo goth thing?
Well, he doesn't actually become emo goth, but it's like, he has this, like, stereotypical dark, ragey side.
And you like that?
The danger, of course.
The danger? Well, it's funny you should say that.
Because he has a dark form where he literally goes, like, albino with dark eyes and grows, like, claw things and kills people, but...
So you like a bit of darkness in your men?
Well, I want a monster in the bed, James. And he literally can do that.
Well, it's funny you should say about dark emo side, because my choice for my video game character, who I would most like to spend an evening with, is Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh my god.
Seriously.
He may as well be a woman, James.
What do you mean by that?
I'm pretty
Was
sure...
that a highly sexist comment? What do you mean by it?
I mean that he's super androgynous, and is that what you go for in a guy?
Firstly, he is reasonably androgynous.
I think he was modeled after Gact.
I don't know what a Gact is.
Okay, he's a Japanese pop artist who I feel like all major male characters from anything anime or out of Japan was in some way modeled after Gact, which is hilarious and interesting and weird.
I mean, Squall has this amazing, tall, lean look to him.
Sure.
Which I think is sexy. He also has the dark, emo, kind of ragey...
No personality?
No, he's got a
personality.
It's just hidden deep within, and that activates
You want a wounded soul to heal, James.
Right.
Oh my god, you want a project.
Right, that activates my caregiving spirit.
You've activated my caregiving trap card.
Right. And so I feel like you could really get deep into Squall, and that there's just hidden depths there that you just need to scratch the surface. And I just think that once you unleash the passion inside, that what do you think he could do with all those belts?
You're one of those guys that's just like, whatever, he tortures squirrels in the backyard, but I can totally fix him.
He has a sword which is a gun!
Overcompensating.
So, okay, mine was Squall. What's your next one?
Alright, my next one is, and here's where there's a lot of unfortunate age issues, because everybody who saves the world has to be under the age of 18, according to everything.
Who is it, Corey?
To be fair, I was 18 when this came out, or at least when I saw it. It's Sokka from Avatar The Last Airbender.
I have to admit, I've never seen or watched it.
You don't know. Okay, good. So this is slightly less pervy to you,
How
but
old
still
is
equally
this
pervy.
person?
Like 14, 15? Yeah, pervy. But he's hilarious. He's cute, and he's funny, and he's smart, and he's goofy as hell. I think this is like the most serendipitous one I think I would have. Yeah, it would just be fun times all the time.
I just want to give you a hug,
No,
Corey.
don't do that.
Cute, smart, funny, goofy,
Gorgeous.
and gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's all
I think it's also honestly partly because I'm attracted to myself and he looks like me, and I have cosplayed him. And I really just want to date myself, is what I'm saying.
Are there pictures of you cosplaying
Of course.
this guy?
You're Facebook friends with me. How do you not have access
Well,
to
I
these?
think we should make those pictures available to our listeners.
No.
That's happening.
No.
We'll post some pictures of Corey cosplay.
I don't need any more girls trying to hit on me.
Everyone needs the girls trying to hit on them. So it's funny you should choose a younger gentleman as the object of your...
It's fictional, so it's cool.
As the object
fictional.
of your affection. Because mine and, every true Star Trek fan who is interested in male gendered persons will have to admit on a deep level that at some point they have been attracted to Wesley Crusher.
Oh my god.
No, seriously. When
You love those ill-fitting jumpsuits.
Yes, and
Those terribly delivered lines.
I love everything about him as a character. He was sort of maybe I was a little older.
You just wanted the self-insert.
I don't even know what that means.
We talked about this last episode.
still...
There is a record of it, and you have forgotten already.
I remember that we used that phrase, but I don't know how it refers to Wesley Crusher.
When fan fiction writers put themselves into their own stories. So this is the way that you get to put yourself onto the Enterprise and reenact your daddy issue role plays with Captain Picard, which is what you really want.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing
See?
potential in
this
that.
This is what you want. You want to be Wesley Crusher and have a three-way with Riker and Picard, where Riker's in the leather harness. See, he's not saying no.
You've been reading my email, haven't you?
Well, we do have a joint email for this
there
podcast.
There are passwords on my computer exactly so that you don't see that stuff.
No, but I think you accidentally put that email in for one of your, Star Trek / porn fanfiction newsletters. And so I saw which ones you favorited, and this was
I will say that there is some excellent...
I don't know if you guys can tell with this lighting, but James is blushing madly right now.
There is some excellent Star Trek / fiction involving Wesley Crusher that you will have to investigate. It is fiction.
Rule 34 is not always your friend.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my god, how do you not know things? Rule 34 is the fact that if it exists, there is porn about it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How did you...
What's rules number 1 to 33?
They're irrelevant.
Okay. So your third crush in this world? Your culture crush?
Oh, well, I mean, this kind of goes back to being in love with myself.
Doesn't everything with you, Corey?
A lot of my personality is designed around how awesome I am, yes. It's kind of a self-reinforcing, vicious cycle that's going to end with a supernova. Hopefully. That's the plan. I'm going to explode and destroy everything with me, because if I, the epitome of beauty and human worthiness, am to perish, then nothing should survive me.
Let's cut that part.
No, why would we cut that?
So who's your third?
This is true.
Who's your third?
This is real. My third, we're gonna wrap it up with another video game character to stay on theme. Would be Jade Curtis from Tales of the Abyss, and
it's not a game I've played or even heard of.
It's from the Tales of series, like Tales of Symphonia.
Tales of Symphonia I played.
Tales of the Abyss is in that Final Fantasy-esque genre. Or group of games, and physically he's not what I would go for. He's got long brown hair, he's got red eyes, which is cool, and he's a soldier, so he's probably quite fit, but his personality is perfect.
In what way?
He's 35, we'll start with that. But his personality is perfect in that he has the most sarcastic, dry wit. He's amazingly intelligent. He's a scientist. They have magic in this universe, but he's a scientist mage, in that he studies his own magic, and he knows how it works, and he's awesome, and he's a badass, and the game I like. The reason why I really like this game is because it kind of plays with the tropes of, teenagers have to save the world. Well, he's a 35-year-old, and he acts like he's babysitting them, and he bitches about it incessantly, and it's fantastic, and he's a sassy... He's sassy, sarcastic like me without being too flamboyant, which maybe I am sometimes, but whatever. Yeah, and so I'd get to date an older version of myself who's already successful. So
that sounds like a fun game. I might pick that one up.
It can be a little slow, but like again, Jay Curtis, and he has marvelous writing too. His lines they laugh out loud, hilarious, and you might fall in love with him.
So my third one, and the last one for this segment, is not a video game character. It's actually a character from a fantasy book, a series of fantasy books.
One of your fantasies, definitely.
Oh, this is an absolute fantasy. And this may be one that people haven't read, but it's from The Steel Remains.
I'm not familiar.
By Richard Morgan, who is generally a science fiction author. And he is a really fantastic science fiction author, but he's written a couple of fantasy novels as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the main character of these fantasy novels is a guy called Ringil Eskiath, who is...
Try and shout that out in the throes.
I totally could shout Ringil out in the throes of passion. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
The idea is almost too good to even contemplate. Especially while there's a video going.
Oh.
So,
gross.
He is actually a gay main character.
Well, that kills half the fun.
No, it doesn't kill half the fun because what's really interesting about it is how this is explored in the novel and how it is not... And
Also, you're bringing up a whole other subject that we could talk about, which is gay characters in science fiction.
Right, we should talk about it. But he is so sexy because he's badass. Like, he is seriously badass.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't take any shit from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
There are times in the novel when people actually make an issue of his sexuality, and he often ends up beating the crap out of them.
Oh, so
which
it's gay revenge porn.
Well, it's something of that. But in the bedroom, he's a complete submissive. And there's this amazing scene where this older kind of flame of his, they act out this slave boy fantasy.
So you'd rather be... It sounds like you'd rather be him than sleep with him.
Well, you've just chosen 2 out of 3 people because they basically are you.
Because I would sleep with me.
I would sleep with him too.
Okay. I mean,
there's lots of things to do other than roleplay, and I'm sure that we can be quite creative with the roleplay. But he is a very sexually active fantasy character. He's actually one of the most sexually interesting fantasy characters I've ever read of any sexual orientation, because fantasy often is such a sexually neutered. Is that a phrase you're allowed to use anymore? It's an asexual.
Why not?
It's an asexual.
No, neuter is a verb, and it means to get rid of somebody's...
Okay, fair enough.
That's a verb.
It is a very non-sexualized area of fiction in my experience often, and this series of books is not. It's strongly sexualized, and the sexualization is often not straight, and that makes it very interesting and makes this character very attractive. So, let's not delve into all the other topics that we just raised.
You would totally sleep with yourself. But it doesn't make sense in you.
I sleep with myself every night.
Because the other one's also submissive.
We would cross that bridge when we came to it.
I don't think it's a bridge you could cross. Well, I guess you're in the future. Oh, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
I guess there's magic you could do.
There's magic we could do.
Yeah.
We could definitely make some magic together, Ringil and I. Okay. So
I think somewhere somebody has rewritten Harry Potter where they replaced wand with penis in every instance.
I think we want to know from you your gaming sci-fi fantasy crushes.
Yes, do tell us.
Especially
we won't judge you at all.
The minority ones. The ones from sexual minorities.
Oh, okay.
And the ones which are non-gender normative. The ones that push the boundaries. Even the ones that are a bit outrageous, like my deep love for a young Wesley Crusher.
Especially the outrageous ones. If you want to make us laugh, that'll really help.
Well, we might not even laugh. Maybe we'll find ourselves strangely intrigued by the suggestions of our listeners.
I'm just waiting to have a threesome with my 3. So I don't. Four's kind of pushing it. I don't think I could handle that. So. I am a god, though, so maybe I could. I definitely could. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Do anything you want.